I-V-M.
I just don't have the courage to open a demat account. I simply buy shares that my brother tells me to buy. I do want to invest, but when I see people losing money in markets, I just lose my confidence. Such a common thought process for share markets, right? Every woman is the Lakshmi of her family. Every woman wants loads of wealth for her family. But when it comes to wealth creation through shares, she's scared. She feels she may end up losing all the wealth. Today, let's enjoy this sip of finance where I share the concept of shares with you. Welcome to a Sip of Finance podcast by Priyanka Acharya. I'm your host Shanali, and this is a lady special podcast that will help you get better with your finances. Conceptualized by Priyanka Acharya, a financial consultant who simplifies a lot of financial jargon for you. She comes with 14 plus years of experience in this field and has helped many grow their money. So, you can now learn simple finance not just in English but in 7 other languages. Let's get started. Nisha was a gifting professional and used to get lots of orders during the festive season. She used to always dream of utilizing her revenues in growing more wealth. Every year she decided that during the off-season she will learn about shares. But then procrastinate. Just like usual. My children, my family, my preparations. For a gifting professional, shares don't look creative. And then every season she earned and thought, this year I missed it. Now next year. Like in Bollywood we say, Tariq pe Tariq. When I asked Nisha what really stops her, she had 2 challenges. One, she finds it confusing to understand the making money concept in shares. It seems like driving a car in 5th gear without even appearing for a license test. 2, she had the big fear of losing money. So in this sip, I will give you a creative understanding of shares. Let us take a simple example. Before that, this example is just for your understanding with no intention to highlight or point out any specific brands. An owner of a toothpaste company was happily selling toothpaste. And then one day, while sipping a cup of tea, he suddenly had a eureka moment. He decided, let's add salt to our toothpaste. Now, salt can't be just added to a toothpaste tube. He had to plan out an entire production cycle to get that salt variant. Now, this process needs money. He thought, if I borrow through a loan, I will have to pay interest even if the product fails in the market after launch. Then there was a solution. If I'm making this toothpaste variant for people, why not make them invest? So he got in touch with many people, collected 200 rupees each from all of them, and then made the salt variant toothpaste. He promised that he will make them an owner in his company to the extent of their contribution. Now Nisha refused initially like major women do, thinking, paisa doob gaya to? What is my security? What is the assurance? And now Nisha saw that the toothpaste is a hit. And then she met Manish, who is another gifting professional. He said, wow, what a decision. I contributed 200 rupees, but super worth it. Nisha said, Manish, let me pay you 200 bucks right away. Will you transfer this to my name? Pause. What would you have done if you were Manish? Most of the women I ask this during my conversations say no. I will not give it. Manish said, Chalo, I can. But you have to pay me 350 now. That's it. This transaction between the toothpaste owner and Manish was technically an IPO. Initial public offer, and then between Nisha and Manish was a secondary market transaction. What the company gave was a share to the extent of the contribution, and shares got traded. So it's called a share market. In fact, I told you the characters just for ease of understanding. Otherwise, this is a super technology-savvy regulated mechanism so that there is no manipulation. This is a beautiful investment avenue and it's no gamble. It is purely an investor-driven mechanism where prices are based on 5 major factors: the company performance, the industry updates, the economic revolutions, the future predictions for the company and industry, and a bit of an individual sentiments. All this game requires is patience. Here, when you invest in an IPO, the company uses the funds to build up something for you. Like how we see people investing in startups these days. Think, this is similar. You are putting your money for something which is visually not in front of you. But then, when we go out to eat or shop online, or in fact try speed dating, or traditionally agree on an arranged marriage, where do we know what's going to come to our plate? It takes patience to build comfort. It takes patience to understand better. And it takes patience to see the money growing while it is with someone else. Have patience, because there is more to say about shares. But for that, tune into the next episode. As of today, these are the 3 things to be done. 1. Check if you have a demat account. I'm going to explain it in detail in the next episode anyway. 2. If you have to buy a share today, what industry, what top 3 company names come to your mind? Just write them down. 3. Check their share prices in case you need to buy them and see if they fit your share buying budget. Just do this little homework and I will be right back next week telling you more so that you can easily take your steps and grab your share of happiness by being financially educated. That's a wrap on this episode of A Sip of Finance podcast. We will see you in the coming week. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this podcast helpful, do give us a shout out on social media and tag us. It will help us empower more people. If you want to reach out to Priyanka, she is available on Instagram at Priyanka Acharya and on LinkedIn as Priyanka Acharya. You can listen to this podcast on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts. Do follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to A Sip of Finance by Priyanka Acharya.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam talks to Rajiv Shastri. He's the director and CEO of NJ Mutual Funds, and they discuss direct versus regular investing and its risks and rewards. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik talks to Pallavi Agarwal, founder and CEO of GoStops, about hostel culture in India. On Smarter with Sid, Siddharth elaborates on the benefits of learning a new language. On Cock and Bull, Cyrus, Sriram, Naveen and Kajol commemorate Pluto Demotion Day by deciphering some cosmic trivia. And on The Wire Talk, Siddharth talks to Seema Chishti about her book, Sumitra and her niece, Tales and Recipes from a Khichdi Family. Hey everybody, as you know, we've been beating the horse for merchandise and you should go and get it now before we refresh our collections. And what's there right now won't be available forever. So go get it now. You can go to ivmpodcast.com, go click on the store link and you'll be able to find the store, or go to beyondfollow.com/IVM and you can go directly over there and pick up the merchandise. Also, remember, if you're following this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Social media helps, but not as much of word of mouth. But if you're a social media fellow, then go to our IVM podcast handle on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn and follow us there. Also, please do remember to check out all of our different YouTube channels. We have a ton of them now. You can go to ivmpodcast.com/YouTube where we maintain a list of all of these channels. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors for this week: TransUnion Civil, Boat Lifestyle, Checkpoint Software, Small Case, and Intel vPro. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Sneakers, they're so much more than just footwear. A cup of well-brewed coffee, that can taste like wine. Our phones can even tell the time, but a mechanical watch, that on your wrist feels different. These subcultures, some very niche and some not so niche, are fantastic hobbies, and I'm obsessed with a lot of them. They're approachable, they're a lot of fun, and they're very, very therapeutic. My name is Anish. I'm the co-founder at Swami, a homegrown beverage brand, and I have many such niche interests, which I will explore with you on this podcast, aptly named Anish Thing. Anish Thing, every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast Network and all other major podcast platforms.